Hey, what's going on, guys? Gavin Peacock here. Haven't talked to you guys for a while. And in today's video, I just want to do a quick screen record follow along tutorial to teach you guys how to do that tilt shift miniature model effect in Photoshop. Okay, I'm going to throw up some photos that I've done in the past, all through Photoshop, faking the trick while I talk and describe what the tilt shift effect is. It originally comes from a lens, super special lens that you buy for your camera that can slide up and down and side to side. And what it's become most popular for, it used to be for just landscape and architecture work, is now just to create and trick your eye into that miniature model look. I'm going to be doing everything manually through Photoshop. New Photoshops even have a drop down tilt shift effect option, and Instagram has the same. But you'll see from what we do here, there's a lot more customization you can get with just, working with your mouse and the blur tools versus the standard. They're just throwing in bars of blur to give the same effect. So we're going to rip through it. You've seen all the photos that I've done in the past. It's super easy to do. Shouldn't take us more than 5 minutes. And yeah, you guys just follow along if you want to. You need any version of Photoshop, any editing software that's just got a lasso and a blur tool. And we'll go on and rip this off. Let's do it. And you guys can have some super sweet tilt shift effect photos of your own. Okay, in we go. Okay, so here we are up on screen. I've got my Photoshop open with the same photo, tilt shifted and not tilt shifted. You can see this shot was actually a beautiful island in Thailand, but the weather was kind of hazy. Color doesn't really pop. And if I give you the quick click over and back, over and back, your initial thought is going to be, whoa, that's super saturated, it's too bright and too fake looking. But the first trick or advice for your tilt shift photos is that it needs to be super surreal saturation for the color to make your eye believe what you're looking at is almost like painted mini models. So if you think about paint colors, you don't have 4,000 blends of red. You just have that one vivid red, the one vivid blue bottle. And that's what you want to initially trick the eye into thinking, is that you're looking at something that's been created versus a natural scene. Or at least that's what it ends up looking like in a miniature model. Second rule for sure is, or at best, you want an aerial looking down view onto something that can be perceived as a miniature model. So looking down on the beach, these people are going to look like little mini figurines. You look down to a cityscape, cars become tiny. So it's a pretty wild back and forth, but I'm going to show you how fast I can make this photo look basically like this one, doing all the manual tools. So back to this photo. So when I assess this, you're initially going to pick, okay, roughly this area I want in focus. And then we got this tree line off in the front here is definitely in the foreground, and then at best, which takes a little more time, is multiple layers of foreground and multiple layers of background. So maybe this tree here, right here in this area, is just a little closer to me than this line of trees right here. Beach drops down way below. These boats out in the ocean are going to be a lot more out of focus than the ones sitting right here parked and docked. And then this island roughly is going to be all the same blur, and this back sky is going to be super, super blurry. Okay, so the main tools we're going to be using is the selection tool with heavy feathering of edges, and the magnetic lasso tool as well, and basically Gaussian blur tool, and then saturation and levels and stuff later on. So right off the bat, I do a rough pick with a heavy feather. I'm going to go about 80 pixels or so. The feather is all dependent on the quality of photo you have. If you have a massive, 5,000 by 5,000 photo, you're going to use a ton more feather, and you'll get more realistic results, or fake results, I should say, when you put the time into feathering everything perfectly, picking and selecting edges accurately. If it's a really low quality photo, like for Instagram, you don't have to try so hard. You can get it done a lot quicker. So right here, I'm going to just initially select what I think I want in focus. I think I'm not trying too hard yet. Boom, that's gonna give me a really soft feather. I'm gonna go Control-Shift-I to invert and give everything else just the tiniest bit of blur. So Gaussian blur's right there. So 19.6 is going to be way too aggressive right now. But give everything just a little more out of focus. So we'll start with about 3.9 pixels. Good, I can see the foreground and background blurring just the slightest. Now I can double click out of that and get into a little more detail on what I really want out of focus. So we're going to go to magnetic lasso tool and I'm going to work this front tree line. And here you just got to kind of get, I'll go a little quicker for you guys so we can get this done. And where was that bridge? So up here, see the lasso tool is actually pretty rough. So you can use the Alt tool if you can see that negative logo, and you can use the Shift tool to add more selections. If I hold Alt down, I can negative click out all this stuff that wasn't supposed to be in the selection. Get rid of you. Good. Okay, we missed this branch, so I'm just gonna come through here and select this guy. Good. Okay, now more or less we have the whole foreground selected. And we're gonna want that really out of focus. So I'm going back to my Gaussian blur. Okay, and I'm just watching it on screen for preview. And I'm gonna go to about 4.7 pixels more out of focus. Good. Okay, we decided this section here needs to be more in focus, so if I do lasso and get rid of, get rid of this whole thing. We got these trees still in focus. I can go to filter and Gaussian blur it again, and it's going to double what we just did. And I'm going to do it a lot more, so it's almost totally gone. Okay, so now we got a front rim out of focus, and then we can start working on the back line. So just nice and sloppy, I'm going to keep this manual tool to get this selected faster. I'm going to go around this island, and then if your eye is looking off, everything in the distance is going to be more to focus, so you can draw basically a straight line here and just pick where the next level of blur is going to be. Gaussian blur the same. Okay, and then we know the ocean over here is going to be way out of focus with the sky, just like so. I can sneak around this island, and this is going to be mega out of focus. Gaussian blur to the extreme. Well, maybe not too far. You want to be able to see something. Now that we have roughly what we want for blurs being foreground, background, we can go. Sometimes I go with the circle selection, throw that to a heavy feather, and I'll just start kind of putting a halo effect like you would be able to do on the Instagram tilt shifts. Let's go a little bigger and get those boats over there. Okay, and then I can do the invert again, and now this will become the centralized halo in focus point, and I can just keep adding more Gaussian blur, which will change everything in their proper ratios. And you'll see the ocean water over here starting to blur a little bit, and it really has everything to do with the amount of feather you're using on the circle. So maybe if I go to 80 now, I can get a real soft edge, and then you won't actually see the edges of your selection points, which will make it a lot more natural. Okay, so now we're really getting blurry and we're getting everything in focus. And then that final magic touch is boosting the crap out of saturation, which everyone does anyway to most photos. So Control U on Photoshop is your saturation tool, and you need to bump the levels and the saturation. So I'll do a bunch of saturation first, almost to the fade point. The punchiness is the term when you finally see the blues, see these guys get into block colors. You can't go that far, so you come back out of that, but push it as hard as you can. So there we're getting really vivid. I'm gonna hit OK, and then I'm gonna do some levels here and make everything a lot brighter before we start blowing out the whites. So maybe right there, and then I can darken a little, And then my final secret is kind of burning out the edges with the burn tool. So I got burn tool loaded here, ready to go. I'm gonna use the bracket button to make my burning tool bigger. And we have shadows exposed to about 50% power. So if you see off in the corner here, if I really burn this, it's gonna turn that black. That might be too aggressive. So I'm gonna switch to midtones and check. And that's a little more natural looking. I can burn out the edge of these rocks, and I'll do that just along the border all the way until I'm happy with how the edges look, and then that'll really highlight the area we want to focus, and we're pretty much done after that. That was a dumb one. Just take some playing and you get the gist. That looks pretty badass. And again, this is a really high quality photo, so if you zoom in very close, that's actually a garbage job. I'd spend more time properly picking the edges, but if you zoom back to about here, it doesn't look half bad. I'd fix this water darkening, but that's it. That's how you do the manual tilt shift effect in Photoshop. Now get cracking. So I rushed the crap out of that job, obviously. You take a little more time getting the lasso tool working around individual rocks. The more precise you make it, the more precise the end photo is going to be. You're gonna have to almost select by the pixel if you're getting that photo blown up huge, but if anything's for Instagram or posting on the computer, or even like small 8x10s, you don't have to try so hard on the edges. And so I guess that video is a little more than 5 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed it. You can go use that effect now and become a pro. As always, check out all the old videos that I've posted. If you haven't seen the Thailand videos yet, you should go take a look. They are awesome. And yeah, stay tuned, like, subscribe, share. I'll be back at you guys with some more videos. If you have any more suggestions and comments on what you want to see, tutorials, follow-alongs, how-tos, best ofs, just let me know and I'll get to making them. Okay, Gavin Peacock out. See you guys later.